Call the meeting to order. And we'll do our meeting minutes first. Did everybody get an opportunity to read the meeting minutes from our last meeting? Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of May something.
21st.
May 24th?
Yep,
Okay, is there a second?
sure,
May 21st, it says.
yes.
Okay. Is there a second? You?
Yes,
Okay. Okay, any discussion? Everything looks good?
looks good.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion passes. And we had a meeting on May 30th, last Saturday. And so we have the meeting minutes from that meeting. Did you have a chance to look at them? Not much to them, but I'll make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes from the May 30th meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We had a meeting Saturday and a public hearing at the meeting and nobody showed up. So, it's not much to
Pain,
say
so,
in meeting
but-
minutes. Okay, let's take a look at the manifest.
Steve and I just did.
Have you looked at it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the school payment is there. The payment for the pickups is there, $2,000, huh? Yeah,
Yeah, that was a lot.
yeah, isn't it?
Is that the end now? That should be
That's
the
it.
last of it.
That's it, yeah. Oh, mapping and point, that was, yeah, okay. We get reimbursed for
Yeah.
that, okay. Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the manifest list of payroll and expenditures for June 3rd,
Fourth.
4th.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion on any of these?
Well, I am wondering why Beth White's services were so expensive. The last check we paid to her was $400. And,
Well, she gave us a detailed invoice, did you see it?
you know what, I must have gone right by it. Okay, here it is. Okay, this is making sense. All right. Okay. So should we, so that's for April, May, and May. Okay. I'm good.
Okay. I talked to her, by the way, yesterday, or the day before yesterday. And she said everything's going good. She's even putting in less hours
I'm
now,
good. I'm good.
working on our town stuff, so. Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Karen, you're here because,
Because I figured I'd come to the meeting tonight, I didn't know Cheryl wasn't here,
okay.
but I can do the checks if you want, I didn't know. if she was
Okay.
here.
You don't have any reports for us then or anything?
I didn't know she wasn't coming.
Is Cheryl here, or is she in town, or is she not?
As far as I know, she's back. Yeah.
I haven't seen any, like, bank statements or anything, have you?
But I hadn't heard from her at all.
This is kind of a critical time, too. You haven't heard from her yet?
Not recently, no.
I mean,
Was she away? Were they away?
I don't know.
how much was that, the total on that manifest?
46,000 something.
46,000? I mean, the tax bills are out, it must be taken in revenue now, but it's kind of that time
Right.
of year, you know, that we're right on the cusp there. So, you know, I guess she'll take care of it if she has to. I don't know, anyhow. So. Well, okay, thanks for that report there.
Hey, not a problem. Anytime.
Do you want to take the
Yeah,
checks
I'll
and then
bring it down.
people that are here could
Yeah. I didn't see a highway.
Are you,
No, I didn't either.
are you able to sign this too?
There was no highway report, huh?
I went by, the truck,
Okay.
he's been raking. I know. So I went by the truck on my way here, so.
where is he making it right now?
I don't know, he was down here, so he was,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he was just heading into the.
I talked to him, he said he was coming tonight, so.
Uh,
So how's truck two, the last,
I got it back, cost $1,000. It was an injector or something, so just like he figured it was, so. It's done, it's complete, he's got it back, and
good to go?
so that's good. How's his budget doing? Did you look at his budget?
I did, he's doing good still.
It looks okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I didn't have anything to talk with him about. Did you, anyhow, have any questions for him tonight? No? Okay, old business, social service payments.
well, don't they invoice us?
Huh?
Don't they invoice us?
We have gotten some invoices. I don't know if everybody invoices us or not. I thought this was gonna be a pretty easy thing because when we had the budget hearing, we said we were just gonna pay everybody what we paid them last year, except $500 more, $250 to Bridge House, $250 to Moose,
Ammonoosuc?
yeah,
Moose.
But then when Linda started looking into the payments from last year, there were some odd payments. You know, like it says, we gave the Mascoma Valley Health Initiative $267.74.
Well, it says it's a number based on a formula based on population.
Yeah.
Who's the 74 cents citizen?
Well, I think that's a number they worked out.
Oh, yeah, I know,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm joking, but
yeah.
it's, clearly it's a.
Hey, if that's all they
It's-
wanted,
it's
they
a-
didn't want $268,
Right,
we
right,
got 25
right.
cents in the
It's a
pocket.
contribution per,
There you
you know,
go.
citizen or per
Right.
voter or however they count it.
So it seemed like an easy thing, but I don't know now, after looking at this, whether we were actually paying what we budgeted for these donations.
Well, I think we were, 'cause, I mean, Bridge House and Tri-County are considered vendors, right? Which we
Yes.
have a budget for. And then Mascoma, Grafton, Ammonoosuc, and the nurses are health services. And we have a budget for that, which I believe equals that total donation that.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking maybe I'm just hoping how they didn't donate more than we actually budgeted to donate. I mean, I wanna make sure this year that we don't go over budget. on what we plan to give these nonprofits.
Well, so far, the nurses have been paid in full.
And that was $1,700.
Yeah.
So that's,
Um, Could I see your town report?
yeah, good.
I assume it's under there. So, last year the vendors got paid, what was, wait a minute, is this, yeah, this is, what was spent. Yeah, so last year the vendor payments matched what was budgeted.
Right. 15,
Okay.
what was that, 15?
Exactly.
And-
Yeah.
And then, with the health agencies, we paid not quite 2718 and we had budgeted 2720. So we were up like a rocket.
Oh,
2 and a quarter,
There you go.
right here.
There you go. Oh, there you go.
okay.
No, actually, this is what's budgeted, and these are the payments, so we went over
We
budget
went over budget
$2.25.
$2.
That makes sense.
For health agency.
Yeah,
So how about vendors?
no, vendors were even. 1550 on both sides.
Vendor payments and others, is that what you're looking at?
I'm just looking.
44, 45?
Yeah,
Yeah,
We spent $1,550.
right,
And then to the health agencies, we spent $2,718, so that's 3, that's 4.
but that's what was budgeted.
4,000, and that's what was budgeted, and
yeah.
notice, and her sheet says here that the total came to $6,250.
So
Well, that's, these were new requests from CASA, Voice Against Violence, West Central Behavioral Health, and Penny Baker Community Health. Well, that didn't specify, but we didn't give to these last year. So she added those in because they made the request, but, so that's 1,000.
But we didn't budget for them this year?
No,
Well, my impression is Linda is just listing,
Oh, okay.
yeah, the request, so minus 1,000 is 5250. And what did we,
so which are the new ones that are on here, Marie?
CASA, violence, Voice Against Violence,
That's a new one?
that's, and we didn't give them money last year,
We didn't?
and I don't know what you guys did before that. And then, well, Penny Baker Community Health asked for a donation, Linda says, but no specific amount. And then she says West Central Behavioral Health is asking for, well, it made 2 requests, you know, in the ballpark of $400. And I was just wondering, health agencies, so we made 2,800, and then vendors was what? So, what we budgeted for this year is $4,800, and this comes out to $4867.74.
Okay. Well, that's all we're spending, all the budget, so.
Okay.
um,
Well, these are all requests, I mean, we could drop them all by $50 if we, but, you know, I know a number of these places in the letters in back of the town report, I mean, some of them provide really, like the nurses provide really significant services
mhm.
to residents in the town. And there are a number of residents that use that, Amanuset Community Health Services.
Well, if we don't fulfill the new requests, if we just go with the ones that we traditionally, or at least that we fulfilled last year, we come out with $67.74 over budget.
So,
Well, that's close to ballpark. I mean, if we drop somebody by $50 and then we're close enough, you know?
well, last year we didn't pay the Canaan Town Library. I think that just was an oversight with Holly leaving and whatnot.
I think it was too, yeah.
If we forget the library, then we'll be all to the good. But,
Maybe we should pay the library now.
yes, libraries are good things, that's for sure.
So, well, okay. Well, I'll go over this with Linda, because we're gonna make these payments at our next meeting. Half of what we're going to donate, so
Okay.
we've got a fair number. And it has to fall within what we budgeted, so. So, are we good with that then?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Okay. Do you have a copy of the MS 636?
I do.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you've seen it. Well, we talked about it on Good Saturday, the MS 636. Before we open the public hearing on the reasons for the special town meeting, is there anything that you want to discuss about that before we open it up to public comments? Okay. I'm going to open the public hearing then, and this public hearing is on the reasons why the town is having a special town meeting on June the 27th. DRA says that we didn't post our budget appropriately this year. And we didn't. There was a little confusion at the end of the year. The MS, used to be the MS6, it's now the MS 636. The state of New Hampshire refers to that as the budget because that's what it is, it's the budget. However, here in Dorchester, we refer to the budget as the town's operating budget, the money that we spend. The MS6 is actually a little more than the expenditures. The MS6 has the town's revenues on it also, and also any revenues that we might take in from any special warrant article. That was not included this year in the annual report, so nobody knows how much we expected to take in revenues, other revenues, not property tax revenues. And DRA thinks that, it's not a big deal in Dorchester, but it could be a big deal in some other towns. And they think that if people had known what the town's financial situation would have been, what kind of revenues we were expecting to bring in, it might have affected the way some people voted on the money articles that we had at the annual town meeting. So they want us to hold a special town meeting, and at the special town meeting, there will be a warrant, but there will only be one warrant article, and the one warrant article will ask the town if they want to ratify the money articles that they passed at the annual town meeting in March. So that's the reason that that's the main reason we're having a special town meeting. Since then, there's also another reason for a special town meeting. I announced at the last selectmen's meeting that the owners of the lot and the building, which we refer to as the Cheever Chapel, have offered to donate that to the town. The select board doesn't have the authority to accept that donation. It takes a town meeting vote. So that will be warrant article number 2 on the warrant, whether the town is in favor of accepting that donation. So that's about it. The confusion part about the MS6 was Linda was a new administrative assistant at the time, and she was telling us after the town meeting that DRA wanted a signed copy of the budget, and we didn't know why. We had never done that before, but we figured what the heck, we'll do it. So Artie and I signed the budget. That's where the confusion was. There was the state was asking for a signed copy of the MS6, not for a signed copy of the budget. So we didn't realize that, and we had thought that we had already signed the MS6, and I think we did. We signed the MS6, but it was a new procedure this year. This year you didn't just fill out the MS6 and mail it in or email it or fax it to DRA. This year they had a new process. You had to, they gave every town their own portal, and you had to go on there and fill out the forms electronically, and which we did for the MS6, and I don't know what happened, but I'm just guessing that what we filled out didn't get saved. So they never got it. But I don't know that. So that's the reasons. So we'll open it up to the public for any comments or questions or statements they might have about the special town meeting. Yes, sir.
I have some questions about the Cheever Chapel. I looked online at the tax information, and according to the tax information online, the land is valued at, I don't remember what, but there's a value for the land, 0 for the lot. So it looks as though Cheever does not own the land. And if that's a situation that's been ongoing. Has that been resolved? It doesn't sound like it according to.
Yeah, but the land is actually is part of the bigger parcel that their house is on, the house next door.
So you'll have to subdivide, is that, or they'll have to subdivide?
Yes, they've offered to donate, it's kind of a pretty well-defined little lot right there that the church is on, and they've offered to donate that little lot, so we would have to get that surveyed.
Right.
Once we get it surveyed, they said they'll donate, if they agree with it, they'll donate the land and the building to us.
So will the Apostolic Lighthouse continue to use it? What's?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yes,
good.
nothing will change. It's just that the town will have it and we'll be able to maintain it. So there's been a lot of talk about that stained glass window down there being ready to fall out or something, so we can go in and fix that.
So we'll inherit a cost
Yes, absolutely.
if it passes.
Sherman, if the Apostolic Lighthouse were to dissolve or leave, it would still be a town building.
Yes,
correct? And then the town would be assuming maintenance fully at that point, probably. And
Yes.
I don't know if you plan to heat the building, but you know what that could do to a budget.
yeah.
And,
Yeah, I've only been
Heat
in the
minimally,
building
things don't
once.
shift around too much, but.
Pastor Howell was here with us tonight, and is there heat in that building? What do you do for heat?
There is, but we don't keep it on except when we're there
Uh-huh.
using it, because there's no water coming in or out, so there's nothing to freeze and so
Uh-huh.
forth.
Okay. Sean?
I had another thought, but then I'm going to this one. If there's no water in or out, that means there are no public restrooms or anything associated with the church, is that correct?
I assume, I don't know. I assume that's, you have a porta lake.
We have a-
don't you?
we have a-
Yeah.
Outdoors?
Yeah.
The porta potty,
Yeah.
Okay. And does anyone have an understanding of what the cost would be to keep up this property? I mean, what are its needs? What would be necessary to maintain this property, to get it up to speed and to keep it there? Has anyone looked into those possible costs?
No one has. That's something we should look into before the special town meeting, because that's a good question.
Also, I think if the town technically owns that building, we should check and see if we are responsible for making it compliant with the Americans for Disability Act. We could be, and that would be an additional cost. It's also possible that because it's a historic building, it may be grandfathered,
Mhm.
but we'd have to check that.
Yes, Steph?
The other maintenance aspect would be plowing. I'm sure the town, if the town owns it, the town would have to make sure it were plowed during winter time to be accessible.
Mhm.
So that's another cost.
Mhm.
And can I say one more thing about,
Sure.
you mentioned that nobody came to the hearing on Saturday? Probably people didn't know about it. I didn't find out until afterwards, and I forget even how. Someone must have told me. Then I went to the website and I did see that it had been posted, but I didn't see that until after the fact. Could you go back to using the penny saver as well? Because people do look at the penny saver, and they look at the ads there.
We
That-
could.
It's a slight extra cost, I suppose. Someone told me that they were told it was illegal to post it in the penny saver. That's highly unlikely. It wouldn't be illegal, but you'd have to have it in 2 other newspapers as well.
Yeah, somebody told me
Past
that
practice.
too. I guess the Penny Saver's not a real newspaper, right? It's not considered.
Right, I
a
can
newspaper.
respond to that. That is for the supervisors of the checklist. The state does not consider that a newspaper.
But it's not
So you can't
illegal to
post-
use it.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't post the supervisors' meetings in that. I mean, you can at your own cost,
Right,
but that can't count as posting
right,
in a newspaper. It has to be an actual newspaper.
sure. Well, that makes sense, but it could be in that as well as the 2 others and then on the 2 buildings. And it's sort of
Yeah, so
best
I would
practice.
think this, any other public notices that if they're putting the penny saver apply under that, that's just the Secretary
The
of
fact that
State
it is very, the
election.
penny saver, everybody gets it.
Right, I
And then-
agree.
And then if you put it in Valley News, maybe
It was a
20
lot
people-
cheaper
20
to
people
run
get
it in
it,
the penny saver.
when Plymouth Record, a lot of people will read it.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Actually, I don't think we were required to put it in the paper. We did though, but we put it in the Valley News. But if we're not required, then if we're gonna put it in the paper, we should put it in the penny saver.
So where are you required to post a hearing? Just on the buildings, or
On the two public
what,
places.
what's the, what do I say?
Just around town.
Public
Two
places,
pub-
I
two
think.
public
Yeah,
places.
two public
Two
places.
public
You'd be
places.
here and up at the town office.
Yeah,
And then if it's an option, you put it online.
And it was also on there,
Yeah.
online.
Online does not count,
No.
but the two public buildings do. So you put the two public buildings, you cover your tail. But,
Yeah, to get people to give input, the more places, the better. That's just-
so, if anybody would like a copy of the MS6 to see, since it wasn't in our annual report this year, you can look at it. There's not much to see, because when it comes to guessing at what our revenues are gonna be, we pretty much guess the same figures every year. We take the figure that we got for the motor vehicle fees from last year, and we expect to take that in the following year. And then every year we put in $2,000 on the land use change tax and $2,000 on the timber tax. Every year we do that, because we have no idea at all at how much money we're going to take in, and we don't want to overestimate. So, and then, you know, come October, when it's time to set the tax rate, DRA sends you the MS4, and the MS4 asks you if you want to change any of those numbers that you submitted this March. That's the purpose of the MS4. So, you know, really, to make us go through this special town meeting and everything, when nothing's etched in stone anyhow with these revenue numbers, seems kind of silly, but we'll do it anyhow. Yes?
Could you put a paragraph in the town website stating what you just said, more or less? You know, that it could be available, maybe you could put that on the website too, the MS6, but,
That the MS6 could be available
Yeah.
for somebody to pick
yeah,
up?
yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. Sure. And I'm sure we'll have copies at the meeting that day, anybody who wants to see it. But nothing changed as far as the budget. Everybody saw the budget and voted on the budget and everything, and none of that changed. And that was the important issue. But next year we'll do it correctly. We'll put the form in. We should put the form in. If we put the form in, then, you know, there'd be no problems, but sometimes we put a facsimile of the form in there, which is what we did. So, but next year we'll put the whole form in, so we shouldn't have this problem again. So, anything else?
Sharon, are there any more meetings prior to the vote on the chapel? Is this the last town meeting? And because my question really is, the number of ideas and questions that came up regarding that, will there be information on that prior to the vote? What it would cost to maintain the property? All of those questions that many people would have prior to voting on that.
Well, we can't answer the questions until we know what they are, so there probably won't be. We'll answer those questions at the town meeting.
The question of what the cost would be to maintain that
And then,
property?
yeah, and.
You'll have all those answers.
And any, well, we'll have an answer to that question. What I'm
Yes.
saying is I can't
Right.
foretell
But
what
those
other
ones that have
question's
come
gonna
up.
come up, you know.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
we'll try to be as prepared as we can. I don't think the maintenance cost is gonna be any more than what it costs us to maintain the museum over there.
Yeah, I don't know what condition it's in and whether it has really serious needs or any of those things.
Pastor Howe, do you know if any maintenance has been done on the building by the congregation?
I know there's been a new roof put on the building,
Okay,
it's been a few years ago.
right,
The,
but probably no routine maintenance?
Oh, some routine maintenance, but there's been no significant deep
Right,
maintenance done.
okay.
Would you have any idea of the heating costs? Does the congregation pay that, or what kind of system is in the building to do it?
There's a forced warm air system. This year we put in a temporary heater, and we used a little under 300 gallons of propane from November through May.
Under 300.
And is that something the congregation has historically paid for? Have they paid to heat the building, or?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
So we, after we take title to the building, we'll go to the town's attorney and get an opinion on, you know, should there be a lease, what should be in the lease, those types of questions. Who pays for what?
And I guess in the American Disabilities Act, that could be, we should find out the answer to that. That could be a pretty substantial cost, I guess.
Well,
We need a ramp.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't think of, are there steps up into the chapel?
There's just 2 steps.
2 steps? Okay.
If it was determined that you needed a ramp, that would be
So mine,
pretty easily
Okay.
arrived at.
Anything else? Okay. I'll close the public hearing section then.
would it be worth getting like Randy Latula or Bert or somebody to go over there and check the building out?
Yeah, I think it would be worth having an estimate from a builder or contractor, or somebody to just look at it and tell us what needs to be done and how urgent various things are, and what kind of maintenance costs we're looking at just to keep the building in good shape.
And Sean, you're all set with your supervisor stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay. You have to make a newspaper notice also.
Yes, Linda said she put it in already.
Oh, okay. June 16th is the last day to publish a full text of the special town meeting warrant in a newspaper of general circulation in the town. RSA 39:4, the warrant must be published within 1 week of posting. June 17th was the last day to have this public hearing, so we got that out of the way, that's done. And the rest is mostly the supervisor of the checklist. Okay, so well, let's have a copy of that. This is it right here.
This is the warrant.
This is the warrant.
This is the MS6.
Good to have, Nick or whomever could look over the building and then actually be at the town meeting to answer any questions. I think that might be better rather than having it just
Speak up. I can't hear.
Oh,
you. No,
okay.
they can't hear.
Oh,
you.
all right. I was saying we could have Nick Bird or whomever, or whatever builder we wanted, look at the building and then have that person be at the town meeting to answer any questions about maintenance, rather than have us interpret what the builder says.
Unless he gave us an itemized list, or, you know.
Right.
Just because, I mean, I'm sure that's gonna be a charge too, for him to be here X hours. I mean, if you could just give us a list of, I guess if there's a new roof, or I assume a major concern is what's the foundation doing?
Yeah.
Or yeah, I mean.
And what, I mean, that's a nice piece of stained glass, so what's it gonna take to secure that?
Yeah. They already, didn't somebody already get an estimate on that already? On what do we got to?
I believe there's a ballpark figure. They came last year to the Historic District Commission requesting to see if something could be done to help preserve the stained glass window. You know, just the fact that it's a historical building. I know a lot of people here in town were married in it or had their kids baptized in it, so there's a lot of sentiment.
Mhm.
And to me, it seemed like it would fall kind of in the same category as the museum, as far as the town, you know, taking care of things. But the Historic District Commission, if, you know, if it was, the Heritage Commission can accept gifts. And so I don't know if that's another option to look at, but, and whether people want to consider that a historic site, building, whatever in town, you know, that certainly needs to be voted on. But I do feel like in that respect, there is an outlet for fundraising or whatever for that, because so many people, even in the area, have been married in it, and I don't know, I feel like people will want to do that, do something to preserve it, because there's been a lot of interest in just trying to preserve the window, and we don't even own the building. So we were kind of in an awkward position of how do we handle this, but
But were there any numbers that actually?
I believe Betty had some numbers. I don't know if
Yeah, I
they were
think she
firm or
does.
not, but
Is
I
it,
never saw it.
I know you guys just met, but is it worth the Heritage Commission or the Historic?
I'm no longer on the commission,
Oh, okay, so
and
don't look at you.
there was not a quorum at the meeting, so there wasn't a meeting.
So there wasn't a meeting. I just wondered, you know, it might be well for them to have a special meeting, and then they could, if they wanted to take this on, that would be something that should be presented at the town meeting, because it might influence people's vote one way or
What do
another.
you mean if they wanted to take it on?
Through fundraising, if the Heritage Commission or the Dorchester Historical Society wanted to take the maintenance or, you know, the preservation of the building on as their project, I would think that would influence people's vote, because that would take,
I just assumed that they would, that's their purpose.
okay.
So I would assume that they would want to do that. Yeah. And when the state says that you can accept gifts as a Heritage Commission, they mean money or artifacts, they don't mean real estate.
Right. So that's why I said, I don't know how that would work. But as far as preserving the building or the stained glass window, just from when I was on the commission, people were interested that, yes, it's definitely something that we'd be interested in helping to preserve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is-
That would have to be, that would fall under the supervision of the Board of Selectmen too. You know, it's not something that we could, you know, get to like the Historic Commission, or like we gave the Town Forest to the Conservation Commission. We wouldn't be able to do that with this piece of property.
No, I was just thinking though, if there was a commitment from them to raise money, that then people might be more inclined to vote to accept the donation,
Yeah.
instead of us just assuming they're gonna raise the money to You know, if one of, if
Well,
one
at
of,
this point, we don't even know if we have to raise any money, right?
right, I guess you just assume an old building.
Yeah.
I mean, for the window at least, something's
Oh,
gotta be
yeah.
done.
So there's another good topic for the Moose Lake grants, right?
But that's right.
Now we can,
Well, that would be next year, they're closed for this year, that would be
Next
next
year.
year.
yeah, I mean, if we need something
Right.
down there. So.
And did you guys get, I'm stunned, they're not gonna be awarded till near the end of July, which seems stunning to me. I mean, the letter of intent was due back in March, so we won't know,
The wheels of finance in Concord don't turn
I
rapidly.
guess not.
Who would know if there's precedent in New Hampshire for a town taking ownership of a church and, you know, of a building that historically has been a church, has always been a church, and will continue to serve as a church? I mean, I'm wondering if there's a separation of church and state issue here. I mean, it's one thing for a religious congregation to meet in a building, a civic building that's owned by the town that's used for other purposes. I'm sure that that happens. You know, a congregation rents the building or something, but this is different. This has always been a church, and it continues to be a church.
And that's probably a reason why we'll have to have a lease.
With the congregation.
Yes.
But we will
Because
still-
we can't sponsor.
Right, and I understand that, but we will still be owning a church building.
Is there a difference between a chapel and a church?
Legally, that's a good question. I mean,
Because it is a chapel.
It's actually a Sunday school. That's how it's
Really?
set up, yeah.
the building was.
Set up as a Sunday school.
So it's a
It was
school.
never
There you go.
consecrated.
Okay.
So.
Well, I mean,
Well, that would be an easy question to ask Laura.
Sure, yeah,
Cheaper.
okay,
yeah, we could ask.
all right, I'm interested, so,
I mean, she's aware of this and she didn't say anything about it.
right, okay.
So I don't think it's gonna be a big deal at all.
Well, at least, it's the kind of decision and vote that can, at some point in the future, be seen as setting a precedent. So I'm just wondering what the ramifications are, that's all.
But Pat, you just said the building was never consecrated, is that what you just said?
I've been told that, yeah.
Oh,
But
really?
it was,
In which
uh,
case,
set
it's
up as a
just a
Sunday
building.
school.
Okay. Never, really? Okay, that's interesting, all right.
Would you have any information on that, Pastor Hap?
I don't. This obviously precedes my time. But I think originally it was set up, the formal name of the chapel way back in 1900 or whatever was something to do with a Sunday school. Some families obviously made it happen.
All right.
I think the name Ruth is on the stained glass windows.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I should make a motion, huh? Make a motion to accept this as the warrant. You've seen it, right?
Mhm.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to sign this as the warrant for the special town meeting, second,
A second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And I'll make a motion that we sign the MS 636 discussion on that? You've both seen it, you saw it on Saturday. All in favor?
Aye.
For the second time. I know I signed this once before. Our office hours might be a little sketchy for the next couple of weeks. It's sad to report that Linda Dowling's husband isn't doing very well and is home hospice right now and only has a couple of weeks to live. So Linda's been given the opportunity to work whenever she wants and or be home when she wants. That's all I have for this evening. You have anything? How about you, Stephen? Okay, I'll open the meeting up to public comments then, or questions, or yes, John?
Just a quick one, I think this is for the whole board to consider. This is a budgetary consideration. And, think seriously on it, because I think it's something that the town should do. We have two public places where people usually meet in any quantity, here at the town hall, and of course up at the town office, where people come in and get their plates and or whatever. I think the town should really consider getting defibrillators in each of those buildings. I'm working with Mike Eastman right now from Canaan EMT, and he's given me some information from the state of New Hampshire where we can get a defibrillator. It can be mounted in a box over here on the wall, and they're close to $800 per unit. Very easy to use. You can't make a mistake if someone goes down on the floor and they're sick and you think they're having a heart attack. It won't work. But if they're having a fibrillation problem, it will work. As Mike had told me, he said it's only going to take one occurrence, and then we can all feel sorry about something. So it's something to consider for the budget. And I will bring something to the next meeting, or take it up to Linda, the whole packet of information on how to get the defibrillators through the state of New Hampshire.
Is there any grant money?
You see them in a lot of public places, and I think here and at the town office, it would be probably very useful to have.
Any grant money?
I'm sorry.
Any grant money that you would know that this gentleman from Canaan passed?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Is there any grant money?
No, I don't know if there's any grant.
Or would he be-
They kind of subsidize it so the cost is lower. And you look at defibrillators and you go online to look at them, you're looking at $1,400 for one. So we can come out a lot better. But I think it's something, if we only get one year and we have another year, it's something to consider under health and safety. You figure lots of places where you put money, but that could be a very good one, especially in this building where lots of people meet. And if someone comes here and gets a little hot under the collar, you never know what's going to happen. So. But according to Mike, I'll try to bring him here some night, and he'll explain it, that they're extremely easy to use, and he said you really can't help. You just don't go put somebody on the floor and blow them away. The early ones used to be a little tricky, but right now they're all pictures, you just can't go wrong.
Okay,
Something to consider
we'll
for
take a look at that. You'll bring us that information then?
And I will put the information to Linda,
Okay.
and so she can pass it on to you, but I'll try to get Mike here in a meeting to talk about it further, so you can all understand it too, so. And he's a current EMT with the Canaan Fast Squad. I've known Mike for years, done a lot of work for him on his personal property, and and so with, but he's very knowledgeable.
Okay. What else?
June 20th is the community baby shower here at 2 o'clock. It's a Saturday afternoon, and all the baby shower gifts are distributed in this local area to mothers or families in need.
What time, Ronnie?
2 o'clock. It's fun.
Is Jenny gonna be?
Is there cake?
There's cake. There's cake, there's refreshments.
And Jenny?
Is Jenny gonna be the?
I haven't got a definite. Jenny was our pregnant mother
She is
one
so
year, and
funny.
it was a hoot. So, we'll see.
Okay, what else? That's it, I guess, huh? Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.